Hello everybody, let's do some reading. Would you like to? Thank you. Now let's get reading! Mr. Happy by Roger Hargreaves. On the other side of the world, where the sun shines hotter than here, and where the trees are 100 feet tall, there is a country called Happy Land. As you might very well expect, everybody who lives in Happy Land is as happy as the day is long. Wherever you go, you see smiling faces all round. It's such a happy place that even the flowers seem to smile in Happy Land. And as well as the people being happy, all the animals in Happy Land are happy as well. If you've never seen a mouse smile, or a cat, or a dog, or even a worm go to Happy Land, this is a story about someone who lived there, who happened to be called Mr. Happy. Mr. Happy was fat, round, and happy. He lived in a small cottage beside a lake at the foot of a mountain and close to a wood, to part of the woods in Happy Land. One day, while Mr. Happy was out walking through the tall trees in those woods near his home, he came across something which was really rather extraordinary. There in the trunk of one of the very tall trees was a door. Not a very large door, but nevertheless a door. Certainly a door. A small, narrow, yellow door. Definitely a yellow door. I wonder who lives here, thought Mr. Happy to himself. And he turned the handle of that small, narrow, yellow door. The door wasn't locked, and it swung open quite easily. Swung. Just inside the small, narrow, yellow door was a small, narrow, winding staircase leading downwards. If you don't know your directions, that is down, that is up, that is left, that is right, and that's the middle. Mr. Happy squeezed his rather large body through his rather thin doorway and began to walk down the stairs. The stairs went round and round and round, and down and down, and round and down and down and round. Non-stop. Eventually, after a long time, Mr. Happy had reached the bottom of the staircase. He looked around and saw there in front of him another small, narrow door, but this one was red. A strange red door. Mr. Happy knocked at the red door. "Who's there?" said a voice, a sad, squeaky sort of voice. "Who is there?" Mr. Happy pushed open the red door slowly, and there, sitting on a stool. There, sitting on a stool, was somebody who looked exactly like Mr. Happy, except that he didn't look happy at all. In fact, he looked downright miserable. "Hello," said Mr. Happy. "I'm Mr. Happy." "Oh, are you indeed?" sniffed the person who looked like Mr. Happy, but wasn't. "Well, my name is Mr. Miserable, and I'm the most miserable person in Happy Land." "Why are you so miserable?" asked Mr. Happy. Because I am, replied Mr. Miserable. How would you like to be happy like me? Asked Mr. Happy. I'd give anything to be happy, said Mr. Miserable. But I'm so miserable I don't think I could ever be happy, he added miserably. Mr. Happy made up his mind quickly. Follow me, he said. Where to? Asked Mr. Miserable. Don't argue, said Mr. Happy, and he went out through the small narrow red door. Once again. Mr. Miserable hesitated and then followed. Up and up the winding staircase they went. Up and round and round and up and round and up until they came out into the woods. Follow me, said Mr. Happy again, and they both set off through the woods, back to Mr. Happy's cottage. Mr. Miserable stayed in Mr. Happy's cottage for quite some time, and during that time the most remarkable thing happened. Because he was living in Happyland, Mr. Miserable ever so slowly stopped being miserable and started to be happy. His mouth stopped turning down at the corners. It became straight. And ever so slowly, it started turning up at the corners. And eventually, Mr. Miserable did something that he'd never done in the whole of his life. He smiled like Mr. Happy. And then he chuckled, which turned into a giggle, which became a laugh, a big, booming, hearty, huge, giant, large, enormous laugh. And Mr. Happy was so surprised that he started to laugh as well. And both of them laughed and laughed. They laughed until their sides hurt and their eyes watered. Mr. Miserable and Mr. Happy laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed. They went outside, and still they laughed. And because they were laughing so much, everybody who saw them started laughing as well. Even the birds in the tree started to laugh at the thought of somebody called Mr. Miserable, who just couldn't stop laughing. And that's really the end of the story, except to say that if you ever feel as miserable as Mr. Miserable, you too, you know exactly what to do, don't you? Just turn your mouth up at the corners. Go on. If you liked that story, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye! Thanks for watching!